Hello and welcome to another episode of MacStories Unwind. I'm John Voorhees, and Federico Vitici is right here with me. How you doing, Federico?
Hello. How are you, John?
I'm doing really well. Federico. We're on the cusp of snowpocalypse here in
You
North
are
Carolina.
on the cusp. It's a beautiful sunny day for me over here. We just took
It's
two
pretty-
long walks at the park. It was beautiful today.
It's pretty beautiful here today, too. We've had a bit of a cold snap, which, it is what it is. The thing that is happening, though, is since I moved here to North Carolina, it's been like 3 years now. I have not seen one single flake of snow. It snows here very
Do you miss
seldomly.
it?
Not even a little bit.
Okay.
I see it on TV, and I think, you know what? I can't believe I lived like that.
Yeah.
So I don't miss it. But we are just far enough north that once every so often, it does snow. And once every very long often, it snows a lot. And I think the last time there was a big storm here was supposedly like 2014. I mean, we're talking a long time ago, like before you and I were even working together.
Yeah.
There was like a foot of snow. And this Saturday, we're supposed to get one of two things, either a lot of snow or a lot of ice. And by a lot of ice, so I'm talking about like maybe at one point they were talking about like a half meter of snow. So, like a foot plus. And now they're talking more like it's going to be ice between a half an inch and 2 inches. Now, you think to yourself, that's not a lot.
Yeah.
But if it's ice is, it pulls down the power lines. And so there is some concern that there's going to be widespread power outages. And the thing that's following this storm is the temperatures are supposed to bottom out. It's supposed to get very, very cold for 2 or 3 days. So we could be on the cusp of something pretty big here. I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying to decide whether I should flee to Florida or not.
Do you have a backup? Like, have you done any prep in case you need to be, blocked at home for a few days?
My prep is I have, as you know, many, many batteries. So I can actually keep things like to me, the important things are my computer and my Wi-Fi.
Right.
I don't have anything that can run the heating system or keep the refrigerator going. I don't have a generator.
Just get some local AI going on your computer. That's going to keep you warm.
Yeah, I'll just run Jump Desktop because that really gets the Mac power, the MacBook Pro really going. So I'll put that on my lap, get some blankets, and I'll be okay.
I mean, you have plenty. You have a huge video game backlog. You have a reading queue. You have a YouTube queue. You can stay busy for a while. You got all your vibe coding experiments.
Yes, I'll line up all my devices, all my handheld games, and I'll just play each one of them until the battery runs out, and then I'll move to the next one.
Never bored. Never
bored.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. Good luck, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be totally fine. I don't worry about these things. I mean, I lived through them. The only, we used to get we get this time of year, in the Photos app, you get those on this day, like 5-10 years ago, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we have pictures of our kids where the snowbanks are taller than them. And, Jennifer and I are out shoveling snow for hours at a time. I don't miss any of that. I look at those pictures. I'm like, wow, how did we do that?
Yeah. I remember the texts from you shoveling snow, scraping the ice off your driveway and falling and hurting yourself.
I did that too. I would get up in the morning. I would get up at like 6 in the morning in the dark, and I'd shovel snow for like an hour and a half before I started my day. And so you'd start your day off, exhausted and sweaty and tired.
Oh man, sweaty but also cold because it's like
sweaty and then very cold very quickly. So
what a weird combo.
It's a terrible combo.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm guessing you do the same in certain places in Italy when where it snows frequently. They have these bags of salt that they pour on the roads.
What's funny about salt here is in Illinois, you would see these would usually be either little warehouses or little structures on the side of the highway where there would be tons of salt, 20 foot high pile of salt that they would open a big door and they would shovel it into the trucks, and then they would, disperse it all over the highway and the roads. Here, they do have salt too. And boy, do they like to salt things because they're not used to it. Like here, it's an emergency if a puddle freezes on the sidewalk.
Right.
People
Yeah.
get all concerned about the puddles on the
Yeah.
sidewalk. And so like the local businesses will throw down so much salt that it'll be there for a month because it's just like, it's more salt than it is water. But yeah, they don't have enough to do the roads, but the local businesses don't want to get sued for somebody slipping outside their shop, I think.
Right. Right. Makes sense. Okay. Well, thank you for the dangerous weather update.
Yeah. Next week we'll all find out together whether this was a bunch of hype or not. There's an awful lot of hype in the local news, and I'm a little bit skeptical of it.
What's your local TV station? What's it called?
I don't even know. I think it's maybe CLT for Charlotte.
Okay.
CLT is like the kind of the abbreviation for Charlotte, both at the airport and on the news.
And so they're hyping.
They are. I don't watch the local news, but I was looking and I did some Googling around this morning because I'm trying to make the call about whether I should flee to Florida or not. And so I was reading the latest posts in the local news there. The Charlotte Observer is the newspaper here.
Charlotte Observer.
It's just online now.
That's a nice name.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, John, shall we talk about our picks for this episode?
We should.
So I have a TV show.
Okay.
It's the second season of the TV show. The first season I recommended on Unwind, I think last year. This is season 2 of A Man on the Inside. So this is on Netflix. It's a comedy. It's a comedy. It's not a sitcom, but it's a comedy TV show. It's from Mike Schur, so the creator of Parks and Rec and The Good Place. So and it's got that style. So the idea is that Charles, played by Ted Danson, in the first season, retired engineering professor and book author. Recently, lost his wife, and so he's retired, alone, and her daughter is concerned about himself. Like, what is my dad gonna do? And through some series of circumstances, he ends up becoming this private investigator for this PI agency ran by this other detective named Julie, much younger than him. And he needs to, in the first season, he has to be the proverbial man on the inside at this nursing home facility in San Francisco to investigate a series of thefts of jewelry and other valuables in the community at the nursing home. And it turns out to be this very, very heartwarming. But it's both a detective story, but also a heartwarming sort of a ensemble sort of type of narrative with different characters. And obviously in the nursing home, there's the themes of growing older and finding companionship when you're older, and all the problems that surface with age. Obviously, season 2 takes a different approach. So all of the 10 episodes, I believe, are out now on Netflix. So first of all, he's again a man on the inside, this time at Wheeler College, still in California. I think it's a real place, right? Wheeler College?
I don't know. That's not a school I've heard of, no.
You don't know? So first of all, let's see if it's a real place or not. Wheeler College, probably not. No, it's a fake place.
I was going to say.
It's a fictional Wheeler College so it was filmed in and around San Francisco and Los Angeles. Okay. So based on what I've seen from the American shows, it kind of looks similar to Berkeley as a vibe. So that's the idea. And so he's hired once again to investigate this stolen laptop. So the laptop of the dean of the university was stolen, and this stolen laptop is being used to blackmail the school to expose, first of all, this huge investment by this billionaire played by Gary Cole, this character named Brett Vinnick, a sort of like Elon Musk adjacent type billionaire. This billionaire wants to invest in the school, but in return, they want to launch this project Aurora to basically do a bunch of layoffs and downsize and cut costs, because essentially the donation from this billionaire is basically an investment in the school to turn it into a corporation, like a privately owned college,
I see.
which is from what I know, a recurring theme in the US, like what's happening to colleges and these donations by billionaires that are basically turning these long-standing institutions into privately owned corporations. And so there's that whole idea of like, let's fight the billionaires. And then, of course, they're also using this stolen laptop to blackmail the dean of the school, played by Max Greenfield. I absolutely love Max Greenfield. He's used to be Schmidt in New Girl, and now he plays obviously Dave in The Neighborhood, another show that I mentioned before. They're using the emails on this laptop to blackmail the fact that he got a huge raise and he's getting bonuses, and in the meantime.
Okay.
They're no longer giving tenure to professors. They are cutting costs for like scholarships and other programs for students who cannot afford to pay for their studies and for tuition. And so this guy is getting all the money, but in the meantime, the school is going to be, is going to fewer and fewer people will be able to afford going to the school. And so he's called in to investigate what's going on, who's blackmailing the dean. But in the process, he kind of gets like, what I think is interesting about this season is that he understands at a fundamental level the motivations of the students or whoever is behind this blackmailing, because what this dean is doing with the billionaire, it's not cool. In this season, I think it starts off a little bit slower than the first one, and you can tell that they're trying to expand a little beyond the template of each season is a new case, even though I think it would work well for this show. I was talking to Silvia about this, like compared to Hijack. The TV drama on Apple TV.
Are you watching that?
No, but I want to. Even though it's a bit ridiculous that the same guy was on a hijacked plane on the first season, and now he's on a hijacked train in the and like everything is happening to this guy. This guy is always on the wrong place.
There's a twist for season 2. I've already watched I've seen the first 2 episodes.
But like it would make more sense for a man on the inside, because it's literally his job to be a PI in a bunch of different cases.
Right.
Still, they're trying to expand. And so in this season, they're digging a little deeper into the other characters. Like they're trying to paint Julie, his boss, as more than just a detective. So they dig into the relationship with Julia and her mom, Julia and her family. They expand a little bit more now Charles as a girlfriend in this season. So they're trying to set it up so that it can be more than, each season, different case. Which initially is a little bit slow. Like they did a whole episode about a Thanksgiving dinner.
They have to have some continuity, I would think. It's hard not to have the continuity. Yeah.
But overall, really enjoyable show. I love Ted Danson. I love Max Greenfield. I think it's a really lightweight and funny and engaging TV series, which is on Netflix. 10 episodes. You can watch it now.
All right. Well, I have lots of things I've been watching lately, and I'm going to do a little mini pick for my main pick, which is a ridiculous series called Taken on Amazon Prime that Jennifer and I have been enjoying, because if you've ever seen the movie there's like a bunch of movies, like at least 3 with Liam Neeson in it called Taken, right?
Is this about Liam Neeson?
Yes, but this is he's not in it. There's a different actor who I think is supposed to be him when he's younger, like in his 30s. Okay. And every episode is somebody being taken and him rescuing them. And it's it's a lot of action. It's kind of over the top, but it's kind of fun too. I don't know. I think I've found a few things on Amazon Prime lately that I've liked. I've never really watched a lot of Amazon Prime because I always felt like the quality of their shows was cut below most of the other streaming services, but they're doing some pretty decent stuff now. And I think Taken, if you just want something kind of mindless and fun, that's a good one. The other pick for me this week is Licorice Pizza, which is a movie from about 5 years ago. That was actually my Unwind deal pick last week because I believe this is true. I think it's still $4.99 in Apple TV. And so, put my money where my mouth was, and I bought it myself. And I watched it last weekend with Jennifer, and it's a Paul Thomas Anderson film, which has a lot of nostalgia in it. It's set in the mid 70s, in 1973, and it stars one of the band members of Haim.
Yes, that's why I remember this. Okay, yeah, I remember.
Yes,
I remember.
And you know what? She's a great actress.
Oh,
and
okay.
There are two main characters in this. There's Gary Valentine, who's played by Cooper Hoffman, who's a 15-year-old kid who's a child actor. And then there's Alana, which is Alana Haim is the actress's name. But Alana Kane is the character. And Alana is 25 and working as an assistant to a high school photographer. So, the kind of photographer that goes to a high school and just does hundreds of students, one after the other, getting their school pictures taken. She's just kind of drifting through life. She's living at home with her sisters. She happens to have two sisters in the movie, just like in real life, and her mom and dad, and just kind of directionless person. When Gary Valentine runs into her and immediately just says, she's the one for me. I'm going to marry this person. Now, and the thing is he's 15. She's 25. So this is like, a very odd couple given their age difference and their points in life. But she ends up kind of being attracted to him and just being kind of friends with him and hanging out with all of his 15-year-old buddies all the time, which at points in the movie, she's just mortified by the fact that she's hanging out with these 15-year-old immature boys. But there's something about Gary that really attracts her to him. And over time, he kind of draws her into his crazy schemes because he's a serial entrepreneur in the 1970s where he's doing things like he starts a waterbed company. And the waterbed storefront is run by all of his 15-year-old friends. And at night they have parties at the store and smoke weed. And it's just like way over the top. And then later he starts a pinball arcade because California, where this is set in the LA area, California legalizes pinball because I guess it had been illegal for a while. And it's one of these meandering, nostalgic type movies that is more just about this relationship than anything else. And these crazy schemes, which are funny and a lot of fun to watch. And it was up for Best Picture for the Oscars. So it's definitely got a lot of high praise from reviewers. And I enjoyed it a lot. It's about 2-hour and 20-minute movie.
Okay.
So, if you get a chance to watch it, I would say go for it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, Federico. Well, we will have an Unwind Deal 2 this week. I got to find one, so I'll put that in there. So be sure to check out the show notes for that. And of course, you can find me and Federico over at MacStories.net and Club MacStories, where you can get even more of what we do at MacStories. Just go to club.macstories.net to learn more about that. And we're on social media, where Federico is at Viticci. That's VITICCI. And I'm at John Voorhees, JOHNVOORHWES. Talk to you next week, Federico.
Ciao, John.